Hey everybody, it's me Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant-based diet going for yourselves today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and to get with alkalinity. Then you can generate some static electricity. Sending me some love telepathically. Set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to great days. So today I'm going to go over the body and the mind, trusting both, but knowing that neither are real, right? So I'm gonna go into what I mean by this, and go in depth in this direction, right? So let's get into this. So the body and the mind are literally just tools, right? You can think of them as tools. The body is a vessel, right? If you dig around a little bit into various different things, various different maybe something esoteric or something, wherever you're gonna dig around, you're gonna eventually find that the body is seen as a vessel. It's seen as a vehicle of some type, right? But you have to dig around in the right places in order to come to that tree of knowledge, right? So eventually you find this out. It's not really a secret anyway. This is the way we are talking about the body. We talk of the body as something that's shed, right? When somebody dies, you say that they left the body, they shed the body, or their soul has left the body. We speak of it like this because the body is just a vessel. It's a vehicle, right? So the body is not, it's a tool. It's something that we, as an essence or a soul, are utilizing to work on the corresponding dimension in which it dwells. So what I mean by this is that the body is within a certain vibratory rate. It's within a certain dimension. It's within a certain wavelength of light or of energy. And within that wavelength, the body can do things. It can function properly, right? It's working within a certain dimension. It's existing within a certain dimension. It's a tool. It's like an avatar. On a video game, you have the ability nowadays to create an avatar, and you play as the avatar. You control the avatar on the server with many other people who also created an avatar, and they're all playing collectively on that server or in that dimension. That's exactly what the body is. The body is just like that. It's literally a vehicle or like an avatar that was created obviously by the biological process, your mother and father, and you are inhabiting the body from higher dimensions in order to work on the server that the body inhabits. It's that simple. For one, it's all fractal. So the reason that we can entertain ourselves with the various different video games and things like this is because there's something parallel to it, which is the actual experience, you know, of the bodily experience. But it's just a tool, you know. We're using the body to work on the server that it inhabits, the dimension that it inhabits. The Earth realm or the Matrix is the server, uh, and we're all playing on the server to do different things, to build it. It's like a simulation game, right? In that type of game, you would build the world, and you would build the world up, and you know, that's literally what it is. We're playing on the server, and we're all collectively cooperating in that server to build it and to generate more and more of it. But we don't only exist as a body. The bodily experience is not all there is. The mental experience is not all there is either. These are just they're like two sides of the same coin, right? But there's much more. There's plenty of different bodies. There's plenty of different experience. There's plenty of different perception to incision, to pierce into. So there's much more experience to be had. Much more different types of bodies. There's only a type of there's a veil, right? There's a veil in place which shields the eye or the perception, so that you can't see or you can't perceive, you can't bring into your perception, your normal state of awareness, something radically beyond the bodily experience. Because if you were to do this, then it kind of sends everything into a type of mayhem or something like this, right? So it's kind of like some people can fall into an experience of the whole system that is beyond the bodily experience, and some people are conditioned to stay within the bodily experience until they die. Obviously, when you die, you don't sustain the bodily experience anymore. You shed the body, and you are able to have the experience beyond it. Okay, this is simple. So basically, you can die before you actually die. You can die while you're healthy and alive, which is what you would want to happen, because this is the experience that is going to change everything. That's what a spiritual awakening is, where you die before you actually die, where you are able to shed the body, right? But obviously you're still occupying the body. So it's obviously at a certain depth of the experience, you can't actually use words, because words are of the bodily experience. So if it's an experience of going beyond the body, you can't use words to explain the experience, because it's ineffable and it's indescribable. So really all you can do to get into that experience is have the experience. And that's the only thing you can do about it. You can't talk about it. You can't say anything about it, because words don't do the justice to explain the indescribable and the infinite. And you also can't do anything about it other than having the experience, right? Because it's death. You die. So the soul is more of an eternal aspect to you. By this, I mean that the soul doesn't actually, it doesn't go through the same process of withering as the body does. The soul can leave the body, your awareness, uh, can transcend the body. That's what it's doing. It's transcending the body when the body or the vehicle or the vessel is no longer capable of holding it due to its energy level. The energy level of the body or the status of it has become too corrupt for the consciousness of the soul to be able to occupy it. So it has to recede. But you're a multi-dimensional being. You're not only 1, 2, or 3, or 4 dimensional. You're multi-infinite dimensional. You're omnidimensional. You're all dimensions and non-dimensions. Okay, by this I mean you don't have a single dimension to your existence because you don't exist. And this is when you start getting into the void, where everything is conceptualized. The womb, right? In the womb, you were nothing, and you were slowly conceptualized into a form from formlessness. If you go through the whole process, the whole development of the fetus, or the even the embryo, or just the whole form from week 0 to week 52, you were formless. You did not exist as a form. You had to be developed. You had to be slowly developed over the time, and you slowly took on a form. So it's the same thing. It's a whole cosmological process. You have to understand the fractal nature of it. The fractal nature of it reveals the cosmology, the cosmogony, where which is the birth of the universe, right? The birth of the universe took on a fractal-like design. It's in the coding, right? Everything is has that same coding because everything came from the womb. This is where things are conceptualized. This is where things develop. All existence, all dimension, all conception has been developed in the void, or out of the void. The void is formless, absolute formlessness, non-existence, and existence comes out of non-existence, right? So the body and the mind are of that conception. They're of the conceptualization, but they don't exist because everything comes from the non-existent. So the body and the mind are of the maya. They're of illusion. You're identified with them. You can become overly attached with the bodily experience and the mind, but that's not who you are. You're not the body. You're not the mind. These are just tools that an omniscient being is utilizing to work omnidimensionally. There's only oneness. There's no separation. That's ego. Ego doesn't exist. Ego is identification, self-identity, but ego is of a very minute dimension of intelligence or intellect, and it doesn't exist because you can recede into deeper dimensions of mind, and you can have an experience that is absolute, complete oneness, where separation can no longer be distinguished anymore or identified with, because there is no separation. Everything is interconnected, and the space between two individual bodies is a connecting ether, or a connective energy. It's a magnetic energy. It's an electromagnetic energy, which is consciousness. Consciousness is a primal material. It's a material. It's just not in the same density as what you have been conditioned to identify with as material, but it is a material. And because it's a material also means that it's substance, or it's sustenance, it's substance. So the space in between bodies is substance. It's a material. It's a building. A superfluid. a superfluous liquidity or something, right? It's space. It's not separating anything. It's filling. And if you can recede into deeper dimensions of mind, then you can have an experience where the space is felt to be filled. It's felt to be filling. And if the space becomes your body, then the boundaries of this body right here does not exist, because they dissolute into that filling or that space or the space. And you can't distinguish in that experience individuality, or you can't distinguish between two individual bodies. They become one body, and everything becomes one. And in that experience is something more truthful, because it's felt deeper and it's more profound and it's more saturated than the experience you're currently having over attached to the body. So dissolving the boundaries of the body is what is needed. Dissolving the boundaries of the body happens naturally. It happens of itself. You just need to connect yourself, be receptive, and that's all that's needed. But the space is not separating anything. There is no separation. Separation does not exist. You're not separate from me. I'm not separate from another person. And if there is no separateness, there's no separation. Two bodies aren't individual. They're one, because they're interconnected. And if two bodies are interconnected, they are one body. They are the same body. And that's the truth of source, of connecting yourself with source. That's the truth that is going to reveal itself. Everything comes from the source. And there is no fragmentation of awareness. There's only unity consciousness, which is the consciousness that everything is unified, everything is one. You're just listening to yourself right now. Everything is a wavelength, a vibration, a vibratory rate, an energy. Appearance doesn't dictate distinguishment. There is no distinguishment. There's no ability to distinguish anything on a certain level. Meaning you can't distinguish yourself from anything else as you begin to recede deeper into the mind. If you lucid dream, which in the relaxing cycle of sleeping, which involves deep relaxation, naturally you recede into deeper dimensions of mind, which is why you hallucinate. You hallucinate when you dream. That's what a dream is. That's why everything is so extremely surreal or so extremely exaggerated, because you hallucinate in your dreams. Everybody is in a hallucinatory state in your dreams, and that's what keeps the balance of everything. See, you need to hallucinate. This is why we sleep in the first place. If you skip sleep for a week, everything is going to start becoming a dream, and you'll immediately start hallucinating because you haven't had sleep. Because it needs to balance itself out. You need to hallucinate. Otherwise, you grow ill. You grow sick. This is why dreams are so surreal. A surreal piece of art, surrealism, is very hallucinatory. in its nature, the way it's illustrated, is a hallucination. And surrealism is a dream state. In your dreams, you hallucinate. Everybody does. So it's natural because everybody is naturally having to go through that. Unless you're unconscious, you can be unconscious of your dreams. But they're still there. You're still dreaming. You're just unaware of them. The more conscious you are of them, the more that you can experience that experience, which is an experience beyond the world, which is why dreams are more true to the nature of reality. Dreams are 100% more true to the nature of reality than waking reality. The body and the mind don't exist. They're just tools. They're literally just for working on the corresponding server, right? There's so much more than the bodily experience, than the mental experience. But if you lucid dream, once again, if you can do this for yourself, a lot opens up. A lot is invited into your perception, into your everyday perception. The boundaries are easily dissolved away if you're able to lucid dream more, which is something that humanity has been doing throughout its entire life in order to come into more transcendental-like states. And the reason why transcendental-like states are needed, or transcendental states are needed, is because this is where growth is. Like, let me see. Like a child, they have outgrown their clothes. You have to buy them new clothes because the old clothes have been outgrown. So transcendental experiences, you have them so that you can outgrow the form that is currently being manifest, right? The clothes are being outgrown, the body is being outgrown, so you need to mutate, transmute, go through transmutation in order to utilize or occupy the form that is manifesting itself for longer periods of time. Otherwise, if you outgrow the body, if you outgrow the clothes, you can no longer use them or the body, right? You have to either buy new clothes or you have to go through the mutation in order for you to continue occupying the body. Otherwise, you have to die, right? Which then an experience will manifest. If it's that extreme of a case, an experience will manifest where you have to leave the body, right? So you would have to die. But that's just an illusion. It's like what's really happening, because there's no death, what's really happening is that you're transitioning into a completely different experience or a completely different space. But the clothes have been outgrown, right? The body's being outgrown by the soul. Or you can think of maybe like a caterpillar, right? Caterpillar goes through dramatic metamorphosis. You go through many metamorphoses because you have multiple different forms. The bodily form is not the only form. The mental form is not the only form. You have multiple energetical forms. And there's multiple different algorithmical combinations where all the energetical bodies are puzzle pieced together to make different entities. And you are each one of these entities, which are residing in different spaces and times, multiversally, or omnidimensionally. So it's all interconnected, right? But you're unable to bring all that into your perception, and you're fixated and attached to the bodily experience because that's the Maya, that's the societal way of doing things, because it can cause damage in various different ways. You may no longer be able to occupy the body if you have an experience that's too profound. So then you would have to immediately leave this body, right? But then there's a certain enterprising that's going on in order to keep mass body here so that things can function accordingly to some sustainment, right? Our matrix. Uh, so the body and the mind don't exist. These are just tools. You know, like creating an avatar in a video game. This is the avatar. You're controlling it from a higher dimension. You know, you're looking in through mental channelings, and you're kind of utilizing this body to work on the server. Everybody is, right, working on the same server. We're building it up, which is the earth. We're trying to bring the earth into a higher state of itself. We're trying to bring into fruition planetary consciousness, which is already here. Planetary consciousness is obviously an awareness of the whole population at one with the planet, so that we can expand out into solar consciousness, galactic consciousness. It goes more and more. Then it's universal consciousness, and we all transcend, right? It's very, very simple. That's the only way that it's going. Any other way is wrong, and any other way is not how it's going to go. Planetary consciousness is the only way that it's going to happen, because it's already happened. That's what's canonical to humanity and their story, our story. It goes from his story to our story, right? So, planetary awareness. Anything else is just it's not the way. It's not. It's not gonna do it for us as a whole species, right? But it can most definitely be utilized, even if it's going against that whole thing. It can be utilized for progression, right? Like any type of pains can be utilized and learned from, and then integrated into a planetary civilization. So, do thank everybody for watching. Once again, peace out, one love, and have a great evening.